Hello everybody. I'm gonna make a quick video to show you just how easy it is to do a bloom using very simple ingredients. Um, I see every day that people struggle to get cells or struggle to do the blooms and they want to give up. So I'm trying to make a video that gets you confident enough that you could try it yourself. So as you can see right here, I'm using just paints that I have laying around. This right here is a Cali Art green. And what I'm doing is I got it on a scale and I'm going to mix 1 part of paint. So 1 ounce of paint. And these paints are pretty old. They've been around for over a year sitting here. But figured that I would use them. I was going to do a full green palette just to try it out. And so try to get as close to 1 ounce as possible. It's hard to see, but this right here is about 1.1 ounce. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take American Floetrol, just this basic one that you could get on Amazon or Home Depot or wherever you get your Floetrols from. Um, what I'm going to do now is mix 2 parts of Floetrol. So it's going to be 2 ounces of Floetrol. You should be straining it with either cheesecloth or a metal strainer just to simply get out the little chunks. As you can see whenever I'm pouring it, you can see little chunks coming out. This Floetrol is also relatively old. It comes out to about 3 ounces total whenever you're done. And just going to mix it up. Just mix it kind of slowly so that you don't introduce a lot of air bubbles into it. And then whenever I do the other paints, I will speed it up a little bit, add some music to it so that you don't have to sit here the entire time as I'm mixing all of my paints. And at the end, I will do a test with these paints just to show you the bloom that I was able to do and the cells that I was able to get. All that just based off of this really easy recipe. So easy that everybody should be able to do it. So I will stop talking here in a second and fast forward and catch up with you after I get done mixing and show you how I do my cell activator. Alright, all the paints are mixed up. Now it's time for the cell activator. This is super easy. This is Amsterdam brand titanium white. So that's what I use mainly. I use that and I use a lamp black. But this brand is really good for making cells. So with this one, it's the easiest cell recipe that I've come up with so far that doesn't use silicone. This right here, I'm mixing 1 part paint, 1 part water. I'm using bottled water so it's a little bit more filtered out and all the nutrients and the hard chemicals and such that come from the faucet aren't in there. So it's just literally just mixing the paints like this and 1 to 1, mix it up. It should be a little slower than that. Take your time doing it, just so it's not messing up or introducing too many bubbles into your setup. And then after this is mixed up, I will show you how I do a bloom with it. Turn my clock going. I always record at the times where my clock's going off, so it goes off every hour, and you thought that I would have learned by now. Alright, so this right here is the next day. I kind of let all the paint sit for a little bit, just to, I didn't like the one that I did originally, so I wanted to make another one that actually showcased the bloom properly. All I'm doing here is kind of stretching out the paint some, since I'm not using a base layer of paint. I'm just simply using one of my colors, and as you can see, this is the green for it. See how the greens are nice and thick. Depending on where you want to go or the colors that you're using, you might add a little bit of water. Normally I don't, depending on what brand that I use. And if you do, it's like a little bit at a time. So like a teaspoon at a time or less. Just so you can't really remove the water once you add it. So unless you leave it overnight to thicken up. This right here is a cell or same cell activator. It's 1-to-1. I just have it in a bottle now and mix up a little bit more since this is one that I use more often. And of course my head gets right in the way right here. So I apologize for that. Usually I'm able to move the camera around and make it where you cannot see my head, but I forgot to do that on this one. And instead of re-recording the entire thing, I guess you'll just have to see my head in this one. With the plume, the best thing to do is start in the middle, blow down first, just to kind of move the paint down below, the cell activator down below, and then start just slowly blowing outward, blowing that layer of paint across the other layers of paint. It works with the density aspect where it's able to pretty much, the top is a little lighter paint and then the colors are beneath it, which is why, as you remember, the cell activator is 1-to-1. The paints are 2-to-1, so they're a little thicker. And then if you use a base, I shouldn't have done this. It flies off right here. I always do that. I have paint on the underneath side of this part, so it, flies off. Has nothing sticky to hold on to. And now I'll take you in for a little bit of a close-up to show you some of the cells and kind of how it looks that way. So yeah, a little bit of a close-up on it. And see, this right here is literally 2 parts of Floetrol, 1 part paint, and then 1 part paint, 1 part water. That's it. It's super, super easy, and people should not be getting intimidated by this.